My parents skipped my commencement for my brother's birthday. Leaving me shattered, my parents skipped my commencement ceremony to host my brother's birthday party. And the betrayal carved a wound so deep I still feel its echo. A year later, I stood on a national stage accepting an innovation award, and he whispered, "How did you manage this?" My name is Jackson, and I finally understand what it means to excise poisonous people from your life. It wasn't swift. It required iron patience, surgical planning, and the quiet resolve to stop letting my own blood drain me dry. Let me set the scene. I grew up in a home where favoritism wasn't subtle. It was a neon sign flashing Oliver in every room. Birthdays, report cards, weekend escapes, holiday dinners, everything orbited my younger brother. If I dared highlight my own milestones, I was shushed, scolded, or guilt-tripped for stealing the spotlight. The message was clear. My light was too bright only when it reflected on him. The breaking point arrived the day I graduated university. I had bled for that degree. Nights blurred into dawn over textbooks, part-time shifts that left calluses, internships that demanded perfection. I graduated summa cum laude. I mailed crisp invitations to my parents, Oliver, aunts, uncles. I allowed myself one fragile hope this time they would come. They didn't. My mother's text arrived at 7:12 a.m. the morning of the ceremony. "Sorry, Jackson, we can't make it. Oliver's birthday dinner is next month, big event. You're expected." No congratulations. No, we're proud. Just a calendar reminder that my brother's steakhouse reservation trumped my walk across the stage. I stared at the screen until the letters blurred. Then I turned off my phone, stayed in my shoebox apartment near campus, and paced the empty rooms until the walls felt like a cage. Rage, grief, and a strange, cold clarity collided inside my chest. In that moment I knew. They would never change. They would never see me as worthy of celebration. For the next 6 months I vanished from their lives. No calls, no texts, no holiday cards. I poured every ounce of energy into myself, my mental health, my career, my dormant dream. I had been tinkering with a software platform for years, a tool to help underserved schools streamline resources. I built it in silence. I told no one in my family. I no longer needed their applause, I needed their absence. Meanwhile, Oliver glided along his gilded path. My parents' social media was a shrine to his promotions, his parties, his tropical getaways. Every post was a dagger. Look who matters. Look who doesn't. 10 months later, the universe handed me a plot twist. I was invited to keynote at a National Tech Awards gala. The night of the event, backstage, my heart hammered, not from stage fright, but from the electric realization that I was finally the author of my own story. Then I saw him. Oliver alone, no parents flanking him this time. His face cycled through shock, confusion, and something that looked suspiciously like fear. He'd read the program, but seeing my name in lights was different. "How?" I heard him mutter as I passed. How did he do this? I didn't acknowledge him. I walked on stage, accepted the crystal trophy, and delivered a speech that left the room leaning forward. The applause was thunderous, genuine. Oliver lingered at the back, twisting his cufflinks like worry beads, trying to solve a puzzle that no longer included him. Afterward, I kept the celebration small. Dinner with 3 friends who had carried me through the darkest stretches. Laughter, cheap wine, the kind of night that feels like breathing after years underwater. My phone buzzed relentlessly. At first I assumed colleagues, then I saw the numbers I'd deleted months ago. Mom, Dad, Oliver, Mom's opener. "Jackson, we saw the coverage. Congratulations. We should talk. No pride, no apology for the graduation, just a reconnaissance mission disguised as warmth." Oliver's texts were a masterclass in entitlement. "This is crazy. Never thought you had it in you. Let's meet. I can help you scale. Help me scale." I laughed so hard I nearly dropped my glass. He had spent his life on a silver platter and now presumed to hand me crumbs. I didn't reply. I wanted to marinate in the victory, proof that I had built something monumental without a single cheer from the people who should have been my loudest. The following weeks were a masterclass in subtle infiltration. My parents happened to learn about my first enterprise clients and left voicemails dripping with faux concern, just checking how things are going. They never asked if I was happy. They were scouting for leverage. Oliver became a recurring ghost at industry mixers. He'd hover near the bar, attempting nonchalance, failing spectacularly. At one rooftop networking lunch, he cornered me by the elevators. "I don't get it," he hissed, voice low. "How are you doing this without us? Without Mom and Dad?" I let the silence stretch until it was uncomfortable. He expected a TED talk on my methods. Instead, I focused on work that matters, the kind that changes lives, not the kind that begs for approval from people who never gave it. His face contorted, rage, recognition, the dawning horror that his entire empire was built on quicksand. My parents escalated to psychological chess. Mom phoned to remind me of family obligations that mysteriously benefited Oliver. Dad emailed investment decks with footnotes implying I'd crash without their wisdom. I saw every move coming. I'd spent 2 decades studying their playbook. Then my company landed its first magazine cover. I knew they'd see it. I knew Oliver would spiral. His texts detonated at 2:07 a.m. Jackson, stop. This is too much. How without help? Why hide it? This isn't fair. The word tasted like rust. After a lifetime of being the footnote, my headline was suddenly unjust. I smiled into the dark, patient as a spider. The next industry gala arrived like a loaded gun. I was slated for another award. Oliver crashed the venue, this time dragging a venture capitalist he'd somehow sweet-talked into attending. He smirked beside the investors' table, a cocktail of bravado and terror. Jackson, quick word after, I can fast-track your growth. I saw the plea beneath the swagger. I nodded politely, collected my medal, and let him stew. The room crackled with a different energy that night. Usually I'd be nervous under the chandeliers, but my focus was diamond cut. I clocked every shadow, the people who should have been my foundation but chose demolition instead. Oliver radiated discomfort, fake smiling near the VC like proximity equaled power. His audacity was almost admirable. During the panel on disruptive education tech, I felt his stare, calculating, panicked. After he materialized, Jackson, can we talk? Outside in the corridor, mask off. A year ago you were invisible, now you're everywhere, how? I stopped auditioning for people who kept cutting my lines, he flinched. Luck, timing. I can help. I don't need your help or theirs. His jaw locked. Mom and Dad opened doors, you'll hit ceilings without them. I laughed, soft and lethal. I've been breaking ceilings since you were still getting participation trophies. Every time you leaned on them, I took notes. He wanted to bolt but lingered, praying I'd trip. Unseen, my parents slipped in late, immaculate, smiling like they'd orchestrated the whole evening. Dad's eyes held irritation. Mom's flicked to me the way she used to scan Oliver for cracks. For the first time, I saw the truth. Their control was smoke and mirrors. I had been building momentum in the dark, no validation required. And now the dawn was breaking on their faces. At the reception, heavy hitters crowded me, genuinely impressed. Oliver orbited, name-dropping like a nervous tick. I caught him whispering to our parents. Their nods were tight, strategic. They were recalculating how to harvest my success. As the night ended, Oliver tried one last time. You don't see the big picture. Together we could. I've seen enough, Oliver. I'm curious, though. How far will desperation carry you? His pallor was ghostly. The shift was complete. This wasn't about proving myself anymore. It was about watching them choke on the fruits of their own neglect. The aftermath simmered. I refused melodrama, no screaming emails, no viral callouts. They thrived on chaos. It let them rewrite the script. I wanted something colder, cleaner, impossible to spin. I fortified the company first. Ditched vanity invites, accepted only rocket fuel meetings. Hired a PR specialist who weaponized facts. Expanded partnerships with nonprofits and districts my parents never bothered to notice. Built a network of merit, not blood. Second, I observed. Oliver kept blundering, offering connections he barely had, grandstanding at local panels, invoking family legacy that existed only in his head. Veterans smelled the desperation. My parents volunteered for my symposiums, hosted charity dinners in my sector, gushed to press about Oliver's journey. They erased my cover story the way they'd erased my graduation, oblivious to how transparent it looked. I engineered exposure without pettiness. Neglect has consequences. You don't get to reclaim the overlooked after they outshine you. I would mirror their tactics, calm, professional, devastating. The opening came via invitation to present a case study at a major education tech symposium. Attendees, academics, funders, civic leaders my parents courted for clout. I booked the largest hall, nailed the live demo, and cued a closing montage. The film opened with impact. A rural principal using our platform to triple after-school enrollment. A clinic coordinator slashing patient wait times. Early adopters quantifying lives changed. No attacks, just results. Then the pivot, seamless. Graduation invitation with RSVP list. Social post praising Oliver's party the same week. Audio of Mom's voicemail the morning of my ceremony. Dates stamped like evidence tags. The room temperature dropped 10 degrees. Oliver blinked, confused. Then his mouth thinned. He grabbed Mom's hand. Their smiles cracked. Public proof was foreign territory. Their kingdom was private revisionism. I closed. We build tools for communities that overlook talent, but the deeper question isn't tech. It's this. When someone is repeatedly sidelined by the people closest to them, what does the world lose? How do we ensure the next overlooked kid gets support from day one? Before Q&A, Oliver stormed the stage, rehearsed indignation from 1,000 family dinners. Enough, Jackson. This is a cheap shot at Mom and Dad. You're hijacking the event for attention. The room rippled. Mom stood, cheeks flaming, Dad's protective scowl. I could have yielded. Instead, speak then to everyone. Explain why my graduation was less important than Oliver's birthday dinner. Say it here, not in texts. Oliver opened, closed his mouth. Mom's grip trembled. Phones rose, the air ionized. He launched the expected defense, charm, deniability, family misunderstanding. Persuasive to strangers. But I'd seated allies, colleagues who'd watched Oliver latch onto projects like a barnacle. They asked surgical questions about dates, invites, access. The debate slipped his grasp. Mom tried reframing years into one busy weekend. Then the lights dimmed again, my signal. The screen flared with a 30-second authenticated voicemail. Mom left a friend years ago. We can't spoil Jackson. He needs to learn not everything is handed to him. Context, casual, impact, atomic. Her lips parted. Dad's composure shattered. Oliver's eyes pinballed. Final frame, graduation invite timestamp beside Oliver's party post. Brutal adjacency. Oliver lunged. You can't. The projector clicked. Last clip, family dinner, parents toasting Oliver, laughing. Jackson's always been the quiet one, let's Oliver shine. The room inhaled as one. I lowered the remote. This isn't vengeance, it's documentation. Talent ignored finds its own stage, and history doesn't negotiate. I faced them. You had every chance to show up, to cheer, to see me. You chose spectacle. These are the receipts. They opened their mouths simultaneously. Mom's apology, Dad's justification, Oliver's plea, but the words dissolved in the hush. The audience wasn't judging me. They were dissecting a system that starved one son to overfeed another, and the cracks were glacial. I walked off stage. The applause that followed wasn't for the software. It was for the kid who refused to stay invisible. Thank you for watching my story. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe and press the bell icon. Stay tuned for more real-life stories. Get more experiences.